Hi everybody, Daman Mehta here, and thank you for once again joining me on my journey as I go through my favorites list on fanfiction.net. Sorry if it's been a couple weeks ever since the anniversary. It seems I'm slowing down rather than speeding up. But I'm still gonna get these out, try and do it. I got 7 stories for you, so let's keep this train moving. Starting with "When Is It a Contract" by Aealket, I guess. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But so this is a story, a Harry Potter story, focused on Luna. At least Luna's the driving factor. Where, at the start of the Triwizard Tournament year, Luna, getting fed up of having her things stolen, uses some of her family magic to figure out how to have a better year, and ends up solving many problems and getting herself a few friends. It's a clean, concise one shot that gives a whole story. Doesn't end everything, but it ends decisively enough that it feels very complete. There's no flashy or bombastic moments here, but I was still enthralled from beginning to end as we see a very methodical progression of actions that are still wrapped in emotional bits to give them enough weight and context to really hit home. I truly enjoy this fic, and if you like Luna as a character, I really think you will too, and this is going to stay on my list. So, number 2 is Multiverse by BobMin356, and this is another Harry Potter fic with a focus on Luna and Harry. So basically this focuses on a dimension hopping older pair of Luna and Harry who are forced by God to go from dimension to dimension, and basically stop Voldemort and prevent Dumbledore from screwing around with prophecies for the good of all reality. It's fun, it's got a lot of ridiculousness and over the topness overall it's mostly in good fun. But there's a few moments, mainly in the last chapter, that can put a bit of a sour taste in your mouth. And that because that's where the big bashing and other things come into play. The main story is, again, like superpowered Luna and Harry screwing around with the plans of Dumbledore and the Death Eaters, and those are truly fun, but we also get, that universe is Harry dealing with the first 4 years of school, and it seems like the authors decided that he should just stop caring about literally anybody else in the wizarding world and just do whatever he felt like. Especially during the Triwizard Tournament, Harry turns into basically a little unrepentant psychopathic murderer, who gleefully, during the dragon task, he unchains the dragon and has literally members of the audience just die in a fire, and he just doesn't care, and he's just like, I wish I could kill more of you, and stuff like that, and that attitude, especially throughout that last chapter, really is like, wow, this guy's a horrible person. Why should I like them? It's like, it becomes a very big case of protagonist morality, in the sense of I think I'm using that wrong, but it's basically he's the protagonist, so whatever he does is fine. And it's it's just after bad people anyway. It's but he's still just killing random people that it doesn't ruin the rest of the story. I still like the hijinks, and especially overall the first 3 chapters are still pretty fun. It's mainly just that last chapter and dealing with the in-universe Harry, not the actual main characters. It puts a damper on things and makes it a little less perfect or enjoyable, but I still had a lot of fun with it, and if you don't mind it being a little tainted, I think you'll really enjoy this, and it might show up on your favorites list too if you like some wacky hijinks with Luna and Harry. It's going to stay on my list. Alright, number 3 is Bakudo X, Life is a Game by Rebook X7. and this is the second story in the Life is a Game series by this author. The first one was Naruto, which is basically, it's a time travel mixed with a video game, the video game concept where they get a lot of cheats and they can do whatever they want, and usually there's a lot of sex to be had. I found this one to be much more palatable than the Naruto one, mainly because the annoying gamer speak is turned way the hell down, and it focused more on slapstick and random stupidity instead of just verbally abusing everybody. It's the humor and the joke styles are still like super dumb, and there's still a lot of sexual humor, but like I found myself enjoying this and having quite a laugh. It's still not this one's not complete, as the author had problems writing the final arc and I guess just never got around to it, so we just get the Soul Society arc and a first look with the Arankar, but and some hints to an overarching plot between all of the Life is a Game stories. But there's still a lot of stupid humor to be had. Humor, as if you've been watching this series, you know that like humor's fixed, and like if you make me laugh a decent amount, even if the rest of the story's not that good or complete, I'll still keep you on my list because I enjoy getting the laughs, and this is the same kind of thing. I know this style of humor is not for everybody, but it definitely is in my wheelhouse, so I'm going to keep this on my list. Right. Next, we have Harry Potter and the Grangers Take on the World by M. Liu 2010. And yeah, this is another dull Harry Potter time travel story. It starts with Harry and Hermione finding out after canon that they've been on potions the whole time to love the Weasleys and be loyal to Dumbledore and all that stuff. And basically they're just like, oh, we got to fix this. And they spend 6 months researching and boom, go back. They send their memories back in time. The sentence I wrote is basically, that sentence is basically a good summary of the first chapter in both events and cadence, because that's basically how each of these chapters goes. Just like, we're going to do this happens. It's a very basic level of writing where it's all either dialogue or exposition. And there's no descriptions really or any real emotional weight to be found here, as the author doesn't really show us anything. He just tells us shit happens. And then another problem with this story is that Harry and Hermione are very upfront with their obvious dislike for those that wronged them. And I understand. Hate, like, hey, these people were emotionally abused and like manipulated, all this stuff. Hate the people all you want, but if you're that obviously antagonizing the person that supposedly is ruling the entire world, don't you think they're gonna catch on that something might be amiss, and also use their authority to slap you down as well? Like, Harry and Hermione are basically just like assaulting Snape in front of everybody and nothing happens to them. And it's okay, the assault, like, they try to wiggle out like, oh, I was using a second wand, so they don't know that I'm using my fake wand, and they're like, use my wand, see this. But also they're just like verbally, like, very obviously just standing up to them and all that stuff, and I don't think that they wouldn't be able to get away with that kind of stuff. Like, that part just seems unrealistic, but it's the main issue is just the basic level of writing that doesn't allow you to get sucked into the story, because it's just things happening without any kind of thought. Like, you don't get any insights to the thoughts, you don't get any insights of descriptions or emotional weight or anything like that. It's just very simple and basic style that's pretty boring to go through. You can safely skip this story and it's going to fall off my list. More Harry Potter. There is a lot of Harry Potter in this collection. So more Harry Potter with Through the Veil by White Tiger Wolf. And this is a one-shot, even though it says 2 chapters. It's not. It's really just 1 chapter. It's a one-shot that's not really a story, more of a prompt. It's a short prompt where, like, Harry goes through the veil, ends up in the past, and then comes back, and then it ends like a couple seconds after Harry got thrown through the veil. it's fine as a challenge and like can be a great start to a story, but as a story by itself, it's nothing worth mentioning. Give it a look if you're a writer and you want to write to write a Harry Potter time travel story that mostly takes place in the like after he time traveled and stuff, but and you just need some inspiration. But if you're not a writer, you can skip this without worry because it's not really satisfying by itself, and it's gonna fall off my list. Okay, the last Harry Potter fic for this one is Harry Potter and the Life-Changing Head Injury by the Psychotic House Elf. And this takes place summer after Harry's 5th year, after Order of the Phoenix, where basically the Dursleys hit him in the head with a frying pan, and Harry just goes crazy and starts killing everybody he runs into, while evil, manipulative Dumbledore tries to chase after him, and on the side, Ginny ends up in an all-female harem. There's a few moments in this story that surprised the laugh out of me, but mainly I was just kind of unimpressed as I read this story. There isn't like a lot of variation in the crazy that Harry like portrays. He really just, as soon as he gets hit, just jumps straight up to just casual murder, and basically just stays that route the entire time. He doesn't do anything else. He's just goes up to a person, says something, and then kills them for annoying him or like slighting him previously. I mean, it tries to have him still be wacky and like random, but it's really just focused on him just murdering everybody. And since there's no variation, there's no build up or anything, it just gets boring after a while, honestly. Small interludes where we see the other members of the story are a bit fun, and they're actually much more interesting than following Harry. But they don't last long, and also everyone in this world is so idiotic, it boggles the mind how they are all not dead from just drinking water, like how they've lived this long in the first place. I can see some people enjoying it, but when the kind of humor, like I'm an easy lay for humor, and this really did not interest me much. Like I said, I had a couple laughs that came out of me, but that's not enough for how much was here, and I really don't think most people would be interested in this. It's not going to stay on my list. And the final story for this video, and the one that actually took me the longest to read because of it, is Broken Faith by Kuro Kishi. And this is a Naruto crossover with Nagima that it's all about Nagima. It doesn't take it. There's very little Naruto involved aside from the main character. Like the start is Naruto at like the end of what was an idea of the end of canon, where he then gets sealed after being betrayed by Kakashi and stuff, and he gets sealed into a tree, which eventually grows into the World Tree. And then we just jump to Nagima, where he gets unsealed during Evangeline and Neji's fight, and so he becomes a bodyguard during the Kyoto trip and onward. Naruto is basically just an extra, like that's really all Naruto is. Like he gets inserted into the class as a student, but he's not. He just sleeps in class all the time. He's basically just another bodyguard and another magical fist to throw into any of the fights. Unlike many of the other Nagima crossovers that I've seen, and even the other ones that are on this list, Naruto actually keeps to himself for a very large duration of the beginning, and so his entryness into the craziness of class 2A, class 3A, and Nagima's girls is actually a lot slower because he's only interacting with a couple people he's only ever interacting with a couple people, and so he doesn't a lot of the antics are actually not there. And I realized that like that lack of humor is what made it a bit stale and dull to read to me, because aside, like, the fights are okay, but there was no huge like amazing gotcha, oh my god, riveting moments. And the humor moments are spread out enough that that's not the main focus. It's very clearly, this is more just of like the shonen with the focus on the mentor instead of the other characters' story, with some humor bits added in. The problem is I didn't care about the actual story. I just was never invested in the main plot. I kept waiting and waiting for it to like really draw me in with a good arc or stuff, but like it just, nothing felt interesting or special. It felt mediocre. Like there was nothing bad, there was nothing terrible. It just felt okay. And that's really kind of a shame, because this is one of the few Negima crossovers I've seen that actually gets past not only the first like death gate of the Kyoto arc, but it even gets past the festival, which is the main other death gate of most Negima fics, and it actually gets to the magical world. But it's really just a lot. Like, it's 350,000 words, and it's not very interesting aside from the humor bits for me. Like, I just found it to be very, like, B-, or C+, even, in, like, terms of interest. But like I said, like, the bits of levity that they added and the fun parts are fun, but they're too spaced out to really recommend this, because there's a lot of essentially mediocre and boring-ish plot, for me at least, to get to the next fun scene. I would say give it a look, but if you're not really sucked in or interested after the first few chapters, you probably won't be for the rest of this, and it's really not going to stay on my list, even though it's one of the few complete stories of Negima crossovers. So there we go. 7 more stories read, and status time. We have now read 626 stories, and 314 of them, I want to say 314, was that right? Yes. 314 of them have stayed on my list. I'm getting there. I'm still not technically halfway. I think next video I think will put me at halfway. But thank you all so much for watching. If you want to read any of these stories, check them out for yourself. Links are in the description down below, as well as a link to my fanfiction.net profile, so you can see what other stories will be coming up eventually, and a link to the forum where I also post these if you want to just read them and go. Also a link to a playlist that starts with this journey from the beginning, from over 2 years ago. Please like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to get notified when these come out. I'm gonna try and keep these to one a week. I'm gonna try and do these on a weekly. Right now it's been bi-weekly, but I'm gonna try. Thank you all just so much for watching, and everybody who's been watching since the beginning, or even if this is your first video, thank you for taking a look at this video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.